Hi, I'm Jenny. Thanks for watching Doing Life with Jenny. Unfortunately, we have a very sad topic today, quite tragic. We have experienced yet another school shooting in the United States, this time in Texas. My heart goes out to those at Robb Elementary, that community, and to, in fact, anybody in the education system in the United States, both teachers, students, and their parents as well. I'm currently 36, and the first time I remember hearing about a school shooting was the Columbine shooting in 1999. I would have been in 7th grade. And since they started tracking school shootings in 1970, there have been 2,052 school shootings, including yesterday's, well, I'm not sure which day this will be published, but the day I'm recording it, including yesterday's tragedy in Texas. As we all know, we have learned absolutely nothing from these situations because they repeat themselves time and time and time again. And each time, it's the same thing. We are like, oh, we feel so sorry for the families, we can't imagine. And honestly, it's come to the point where we don't even have that emotional impact a lot of the times because it's the equivalent of like, oh, look, there's a bird outside of my window. Oh, another school shooting in the news. Like, we've become numb to it at this point. Also, each time, it's the gun argument. They're taking our guns. Guns kill people. No, people kill people. It's the same thing every time. The only thing that has not happened each time is an actual change being made. I want to hit 4 bullet points today on the topic. These are just my personal opinions and or experiences. First one, thoughts and prayers. I can see both sides of the argument here. I am a Christian, so yes, I do pray for these families. I pray for the victims. I pray for the community. I pray for the school system in general. My thoughts are with them. But I'm also smart enough to know that there has to be more than just the thoughts and prayers. Yes, I pray that the family can find comfort as soon as possible, that they can start the healing process as soon as possible. I pray that the kids can someday return to school and not have PTSD from the situation so that they can continue learning. But I also know that thoughts and prayers are not enough to change the actual situation that the country has gone through time and time again. Secondly, guns. Nobody is trying to take your precious gun away. However, it is very clear that some kind of policy needs to be in place. Will it solve the issues? Will it resolve 100% of the problem? We don't know. Nobody knows. But what we do know is not trying something is putting us back in the same sinking boat time and time again. So if your precious little gun is more important to you than these children and these teachers and these families, I can tell you where you can stick that gun. Whether that's Christian of me or not, I don't care. What I do care about is fighting for these families, for these victims, for us educators. I don't care about your gun. And if that's your priority, I'm sorry, I will pray for you that you get your priorities straight in life. I am all about making someone jump through the hoops to get their precious gun. If they are mentally stable enough and responsible enough to, in the end, get the gun, then why should it matter to them? They should only be concerned if they would maybe raise some kind of red flag to not get it, in which case the process has served its purpose. The final point under guns is that maybe parents should be held accountable. If Johnny steals a gun from his household, maybe his parents should have some kind of fine or jail time for making that gun accessible. The gun would obviously be his mom or dad's, not his, because after doing a quick Google search, in most states you have to be 18 or 21 to purchase a handgun. And a 21-year-old is not attending an elementary school or middle school or high school as a student. Now, are they? Now, maybe there could be some kind of investigation if the student picked the gun safe lock or something of that nature, But if the parents just keep the gun in the closet, not locked up, or they provide the key to the safe on purpose, like, the parents need to be held accountable. Because, again, I really don't care what your thoughts are on the guns. If your priority is a gun and having access to it instead of somebody's life, I just can't talk to you. The next point is healthcare, specifically mental health care, and its cost and everything related to the broken healthcare system in the United States. Okay, nobody in their right mind is going to shoot up a school or a movie theater or a church or wherever else we've had a shooting in this country at this point. I can't keep track. Obviously, there has to be some kind of trauma, mental health issue for someone to cross their breaking point and shoot up a school instead of just crying, maybe punching a hole in the wall. However, access to mental health care is almost non-existent in this country. I can speak from personal experience. I was never going to, and I would never harm anyone else, but I was going through some severe mental health issues a few years ago. I could not find a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I asked my primary care doctor. He didn't know of anyone. I finally found someone that was not a good fit. Like, they were trying to put words in my mouth and not really listen, and they were trying to treat me with medication off the bat instead of like figuring out what the issues were to maybe give me the right medication or to find other means of coping instead of just here's another pill. I called endless clinics to call and find out the number had been disconnected, to be told they're not taking any kind of new patients, not like, oh, there's a waiting list, like flat out not taking new patients, or hey, there's a waiting list 6 months out. Well, if you're having some kind of crisis, you need to be seen like ASAP. If you had the skills to cope on your own, you would do so. You don't, therefore that's why you're seeking out help. And when you can't get in, or it takes 6 months, 9 months to get in, like, what are we doing, folks? This is not acceptable. Let's say you can find the mental health expert that you need. It's not affordable for your average person. People are already struggling, especially at the moment with inflation. Like, people are watching how much gas they use. They're cutting back at the grocery store. Paying a $60 copay, at least that's what mine is, to see some kind of mental health expert is like low on the priority list for many people at the moment. Especially if you have to drive a long ways to get to that clinic or doctor's office. And a mental health visit is not a one-time thing. It needs to be probably a weekly thing at first, later on a monthly thing, and $60 a pop adds up quickly, especially on an average American income. Argentina has the most psychologists per capita than any other country, and based on my research, I can only find one incident of a school shooting from 2004. Coincidence? Probably not. The final point for today's video is society. That picks up where we left off with healthcare not being affordable. This country in general is not affordable. To some extent, it's our fault, and to some extent, it's the country's fault, so let me elaborate. With the cost of living increasing, yet the salaries remaining relatively stagnant, it has become more and more important that both parents work outside of the home, even maybe working 2 or 3 jobs or working extended hours. Well, if the parents are so busy working, who is raising the children? Nobody. They're literally handed a phone or a tablet. Here, keep yourself busy. There's little to no engagement between parents and their children. There's no one at home teaching them values. There's no one at home like realizing, hey, what's wrong with Johnny? Like, his mood has been different lately, let's look into this. It all flies under the radar because there is no like communication. Like I mentioned, this is partially our fault as Americans as well, because we are not fine with a family of 4 having a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom house. We need the 5-bedroom house with 2 or 3 bathrooms. And we need each parent to have the newest car. We need each person to have the brand new iPhone because, oh my goodness, the one last year isn't working anymore. Of course it's working. Cut back. Make your family the priority, not your stuff. Also, maybe to some extent, we have this mentality that it's someone else's problem to solve until it affects us personally. Once it has affected you personally, it's too late. Your mom is gone. Your sister is gone. Your kid is gone. The neighbor, gone. Don't let it get to that point. To conclude, don't be that person that's saying, oh no, that's never going to work. You know what? Nothing at this point is working because we haven't tried anything. So gosh darn it, like let's try something. Even if it's not the answer, at least we're taking some kind of steps to figure this mess out. Do I have the answers? Obviously not. But we have to try something. Anything. If that something is tighter gun restrictions, so be it. If that something is better healthcare, great. But the point is we have to try something because at the moment we have tried nothing, and you see what this gets us time and time again. And maybe we need to propose the following. If we haven't tried something, if we haven't tried anything after yet another incident, then parents, don't send your students back to the classroom in the fall. Teachers, don't return back to the classroom in the fall until some type of action has been taken.